Well, because I don't know if you know, most of us know that Prabhupada's favourite flower is a yellow rose. So that's why I chose the yellow rose. So then that was, in my mind, leaning towards the idea that not only do some devotees want to offer service, but Prabhupada and Krishna are very keen to accept service because, as denoted by the yellow rose, Prabhupada really loved yellow roses. So he wanted to accept the service, which is a two-way thing in devotional, reciprocation, offering service. And Krishna is more keen, in other words, sometimes for our service than we even are to give it.
Okay, I've got our recording going. Oh no, now a little burp is coming. Excuse me. So after you shared your poetry, I was like just reading. I went over it quickly, and I got goosebumps.
Oh,
I ran upstairs and I was like, Manu, you have to read this poetry. This is really beautiful poetry. I really enjoyed what you shared.
oh, you're very encouraging.
Yeah. So you wrote this after, like, this is your most recent poetry?
Yeah, because you know how it is. I had a load of other stuff, and I read through it, and I thought, it's not really, and so I kind of, yeah, these are recent. So I wasn't too sure about the other ones. I don't know. Yeah.
Okay, I'll just share my screen here. So I have one of the first poems you shared, Tompkins Square Park in the Fall.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Just a quick realization amongst the notes I shared around the poem itself. I'd just like to read this about the poem, how it combines elements of nature, history, and spirituality, creating a vivid scene that evolves into a reflective devotional piece. You use the personification of trees and a rose bush to explore different perspectives on attachment and detachment, linking these themes to the historical significance of Tompkins Square Park. I don't know if you'd like to just read the poem for us.
Tompkins Square Park. Read that one. Okay. Tompkins Square Park in the fall. The pale sun gleams through branches, and leaves start to form a thin carpet. Big red maples tells me it's a relief to shed the burden of heavy leaves. A couple of trees behind me feel the same. A rosebush with one yellow bloom hanging on beckons me to come over. She says, I don't agree with the trees. I'm trying to keep my last flower for someone special. And I love to dance with my leaves in the breeze. I look up in admiration at the towering elm tree next to us. Don't bother, that tree won't say anything, she continues. He's been in meditation or something for many years, since a pure Swami chanted right there. He sat at those old roots back in 1966. A faint sound of drums and singing interrupts our thoughts. As the music grows, the procession comes closer. About 50 people stop under the meditating elm tree. A velvet cushion is gently placed by its wide trunk. This is the sitting place for a life-size deity of Prabhupada, the founder of the Hare Krishna movement. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. The joyful, melodious chanting resonates throughout the park, attracting people to join in with guitars and tambourines. Some are dancing in the breeze freely for the first time. I glance at the rosebush nearby. She is swaying. I know she wants me to pick her last flower. And gently I do pick her soft yellow rose and place it at Prabhupada's graceful hands.
after going through this poem, it sparked a nice conversation between Manu and myself. We
Oh,
just started talking about these trees and who they might be, particularly this elm tree. We're like, just who is
yes.
this personality, you know?
Uh,
could you
it's funny
could
you
you
should say
just
that because that's what I
yeah.
was thinking about. I was thinking, yeah, who is this tree that the Hare Krishna movement started beneath this tree, more or less? I mean,
Mm,
it must be a special soul, yes, something amazing. And then I kept hearing things about people talking to trees, and I thought, am I pushing it a bit too far? And I sort of played with it, and anyway, yeah.
mm. Yeah, I remember my Guru Maharaj talking about how he's not much of a tree hugger. But that's one tree that he'd encourage anybody to go up and hug.
Yes, special
Yeah.
soul.
Mm. I've never
Yeah.
been to Tompkins Square Park. You've been there?
Oh yes, a long, long time back. The devotees were in the middle of buying the storefront there, and we sort of walked around and we saw the tree and the storefront and like that. Yeah, but there was no devotion going on there when I was there. There was no chanting. Maybe that's why I put it in.
Oh, okay. So the idea of personifying the trees, you touched on how you were wondering about just who this tree is, and the
Yes.
rose bush. How do their dialogues reflect different devotional attitudes? Like,
Well, I was seeing the rosebush as a sort of very light sort of devotee who likes beauty and joy and like that sort of thing. And there's some devotees join the movement in that sort of mood. I was thinking, but then you have other devotees, and maybe they don't even make it to be devotees. They just want to feel relief, to drop all their burdens and get rid of all their troubles, and like the leaves on the tree, drop them so they're gone. So I was thinking there's two different moods there. So yeah.
what motivated you to choose Tompkins Square Park, which has a rich history, as the setting of this poem?
I guess I just thought it's the place where maybe Krishna consciousness started. It's like a ignition point for
And
Krishna
I,
consciousness. Yeah.
and I miss Aranya of a sort.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Uh, could you explain the emotional connection between offering the rose to Srila Prabhupada and the park's historical context?
um, well, because I don't know if you know, most of us know that Prabhupada's favourite flower is a yellow rose. So that's why I chose the yellow rose. So then that was, in my mind, leaning towards the idea that not only do some devotees want to offer service, but Prabhupada and Krishna are very keen to accept service because, as denoted by the yellow rose, Prabhupada really loved yellow roses. So he wanted to accept the service, which is a two-way thing in devotional, reciprocation, offering service. And Krishna is more keen, in other words, sometimes for our service than we even are to give it. I guess that's where it was coming from. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just thinking about how you have, well, the poem sounds very deliberate, and just thinking about my creative process, it's usually just random. It's usually just a blob of a random blob of a rant, like
Oh, I
possibly
had lots of
ranting
those.
about something. Like, but I've been really thinking about. I had a conversation about this with a god sister of mine. She's also a very brilliant poet, Vasanti,
Uh-huh.
and she was talking about how now in, engaging the creative process in actually exploring yourself Krishna consciously and being deliberate about what you're doing. And I realized that you have a lot of that. I found that a lot in your poems actually, and I was like very inspired. I was like, yeah, I need to really
Well,
get into that.
I did have sheets and sheets of scribble.
uh, yeah, I think that's part of it. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's part of it.
Yeah. Piles of scribble.
Yeah, so the scribbles are part of it, because
Yeah.
mine end up looking like algebra,
Yeah.
almost
Yeah.
like
That's the best
little
way.
arrows and
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
And oh
I love
god. Yeah.
it.
So you shared three poems. Second one was pretty short and really beautiful,
Yeah,
actually.
it
Would you
started
like to
off,
read that?
funnily enough, the pen, the short one, started off as a
Mm.
long poem. And I was, like you were saying, you're doing lots of arrows and squiggly bits and pointing this bit to that bit and cut this bit out. And I kept discussing light and dark and happy and sad. And I thought, maybe I could just boil this down and cross. So I crossed some more out and more out. And then I think I crossed nearly all of it out and wrote this one. It was
Wow.
a boiling down thing, I guess you would say. And it came out really short in the end after all that.
Wow. I like that, boiling it down. Yeah. Let me just take us to that poem.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like to read it for us?
Yeah, the pen. Today, the pen feels airy and light, but yesterday it trembled in fright. Describing bombs and flowers can be draining after hours.
That last line, in fact, the can be draining at times. I mean, after hours, it kind of gave me like an exhalation, of relief, a sigh of relief. I was like, wow, it's so short, but it's really packed.
Yeah, maybe because I got rid of a lot, but yeah, I don't know. Somehow I got annoyed with myself for writing so much, and I kept saying, why aren't you just saying what you want to say? And I got like that.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why it came out the Wisdom House.
Well, yeah. um, so it delves into the dual nature of the creative process. It's lightness when inspired, and it's heaviness when confronting difficult realities. The imagery of bombs and flowers, to me, symbolizes the contrast between destruction and beauty, capturing the complexities of
Oh, good.
devotional life. I don't know what you think about that.
Yes, I had lots of things in there about devotional and non-devotional, and all of that went as well, and it came out as this. But I guess what I was trying to say was that the writer is very empathic, and he gives a lot when he's trying to write, and that's why he gets drained. And the medium of the pen was like it was flowing through the pen, so the pen was feeling it. That was the sort of artistic license, if you like, on that. Yeah.
It kind of describes or almost captures what I was going through, I think a couple of months ago. And I owe Rasastali Mataji an apology. I'd promised to hand in some poems for Hare Krishna News from Durban. And I just got this overwhelming sense of dread. And like just writing a poem or sharing what I had.
Yeah.
Like, I think it probably needed some boiling down too, and I ended up not sharing anything
It's difficult
because,
sometimes, isn't it?
yeah,
You,
yeah,
you you start thinking. I mean, there's a little voice that goes, "Oh, this is dead corny. You can't show people that," or things like that, isn't it? Yeah, I
yeah.
think we all get that. I mean, yeah.
I just read that in that the book I was telling you about. What's that? The Artist's Way. The author was just saying that you need to fight with that voice because that little voice, you need to
Yeah.
beat it with a stick and actually just
Yes. Yeah, yeah.
get the
Everyone
writing done.
gets. Yeah, everyone
Mm,
gets stuff like that. It's yeah. Anyway.
mm. So, I think we spoke a bit about this, but how does writing help you process the challenges and joys of devotional service?
Well, I suppose it's a bit like journaling, but more so because you get more absorbed in it and trying to, as we said, boil down was the phrase to get to what you really mean and what you're really thinking. And sometimes that makes you go a little bit deeper when you're boiling it down. You're not just boiling down the words that are there, but you come up with other ones that are more poignant to what you're actually thinking. And you think, oh,
Mm,
actually, this is more like it.
mm. I heard something like that in conversation that I forgot his name. Last name's Green,
Mm-hmm.
but he was talking about finding your purpose. Podcast I came across, and he was talking about how you actually, yes, indeed, have to boil it down, almost like a regressive. an exercise in regression and
Mm.
well, present life, not past life, but going through your life and what inspired you all the way up to finding your
Yeah.
purpose. So
But
yeah, I
having
think
said that, sometimes you just wake up in the morning and something can come. You can just get it straight on the page. I've had that as well.
yeah,
Yeah.
I haven't had that in a while.
No, no, I
Yeah,
haven't.
but it
Yeah.
used, the thing is, it used to attack me during japa time,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I'll be like, "No, this is japa time," and then my like, "No, it's time to write."
You got a
Yeah,
little
but
notebook next to you, have you?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But japa time, you get some really nice
That's
poems.
it. The mind's being freed, isn't it? That's what they say, right? Japa
Yeah,
frees the mind.
definitely. Mm. Um, the phrase "bombs and flowers" is striking. What inspired this juxtaposition, and how does it relate to Krishna consciousness? If
Well, bombs are obviously all the things in life we'd rather not look at, like disasters or problems in Krishna consciousness or in ISKCON, and sometimes quite heavy things, not just bombs, literally bombs, but heavy stuff that we hear about. And then other times you just go and you see the deities and you look how beautiful they are, and that's the flowers. So there's the two things. And but when you're writing about them and comparing them and trying to go a bit deeper and think about them, that's when I think maybe it becomes a little bit draining for the person or the poet.
I was just saying to Krishna Das, he's a rapper, MC, but a poet.
Great.
Yeah, I was just saying to him that at certain points, just writing, I found that there's some pieces that I haven't even finished. I found like my mind was now going into this dark place, and now you're like almost risking Vaishnava parade and all of that, and then it becomes heavy and gunky and
Yeah, you can
sticky,
go.
and I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, and then just left that alone, and just recalling the conversation I had with Vasanti as well. She was also saying she wants to write away from traumatic experiences, just
Mm.
constantly writing about that heavy stuff. So yeah, I guess you have to be paramahamsas of the sort. Then I guess.
Yeah, it's like, do we want, if you write heavy stuff in a poem, is it actually helping other people? I sometimes think maybe it's helpful for us, like a journaling thing, like like that. Yeah, it's
I like
difficult
that.
sometimes.
Yeah, it is. It is. I like that a lot of devotees are getting into the exercise of journaling, though. It's like everybody's carrying a notebook. I really like that. I think it's a healthy habit.
Yeah, well, since I started doing this with you, the poems, I went out and bought some notebooks, really rough ones, so I wouldn't be afraid to write in them. And I've got them by the bed, and I've got a few odd lines that I haven't connected up with anything, but things that I thought, oh yeah, this is good. So I've got
Yeah,
this book with bits in it. I
yeah,
started doing
yeah.
that now.
I just like get blank pages. I have one here, so these are just scribblings.
Yeah, that's the best because I've
Yeah.
got these really beautiful books and they're gorgeous and they've got peacocks on them and gold on them in the front and all. And I'm like
Oh, that's really
frightened to
beautiful.
write in them because I might spoil the book.
That rat nest over there.
Yeah,
That's all scribblings and other poems as well.
great.
Yeah. Mm.
Love it.
On to our next poem,
Hmm.
which is also particularly wonderful. Unraveling illusion. If you
Yeah.
could just read
Just
it
read it
for us,
first,
please.
or yeah,
Yes,
read it.
please.
Okay, unraveling illusion. Our love for Krishna was pure, and this as the snow on the mountains, white as the moon gleaming between the clouds. Somehow the brightness faded into swirling mists of grey, which thickened like ropes until they twisted into a dense tapestry. Only one who can see the original purity can help others to understand. Srila Prabhupada's instructions carry a gentle force, which has the power to unravel many millions of thick tapestries. Similarly, when we pull the ropes of the majestic Rathayatra chariot, we unravel the tight weave of illusion as we pull Lord Jagannath back into our hearts.
It had me thinking of Stormwatch by Jethro Tull.
Oh, yeah?
Somehow the brightness faded into swirling mists of grey.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And I was
Cool.
like,
Yeah.
this is really cool. Yeah, I wrote a bit about that poem. I was just thinking how this poem employs intricate metaphors of snow, mist, and ropes to depict the journey of spiritual clarity, from or out from illusion, highlighting Srila Prabhupada's guidance in navigating through Maya. It connects the act of pulling the Rath Yatra chariot ropes to the process of unraveling illusion.
I love the words that you write about the poems, actually, more than the poems.
No, it's just, I've been trying to practice mindfulness in writing, I'd say, because with this service with ISKCON News, I realized that half the time, sometimes actually, I get pulled into a more creative approach to writing, and then it kind of absorbs me into or sucks me into this vortex of now, I wouldn't say usurping the story, but now trying to tell the story through my own sense of it, if I may.
Yeah.
So I realized that actually I just need to be an observer of a sort, because that's part of just telling or reporting, reportage and all that. You really just you really just a mouthpiece.
I was thinking, no, you make my poem sound quite good.
They are so good. They're so good. I was just thinking how beautiful it would be to actually have regular poetry sessions or open mic sessions where you read these poems, yes, and then share your realizations, or even maybe even a verse or an excerpt from Srila Prabhupada's books that could go with the theme. And I was just thinking it would be so beautiful to share Krishna consciousness in this way. I've been to a couple recently. I actually stopped going to poetry sessions a couple of years ago because it became really competitive, and everybody was taking to this style of performance poetry, and it started to sound the same, including the content itself. Nobody was asking beyond the obvious. And so recently as well, I attended a poetry session in Greenside, and nothing much had changed. So I was thinking, wow, these poems, like I said, I got goosebumps. And I was like, these are really beautiful poems, and they're potent with realization and Krishna conscious at that. I think people need this, I see it as another way of distributing books. Maybe you could have like a book stall there, maybe 2 couches, discuss the poem, read or recite, and have a nice question and answers session, discussions.
That's interesting, yeah, because nowadays people are more open to all this, like yoga, poetry, creative. Yes, very nice. Yeah.
And maybe at the end of it, an anthology of a sort. Maybe Krishna conscious poems from across the globe or something. Contemporary Vaishnava poetry.
Yeah, wow. That's a wonderful thought.
Hopefully, we'll be able to sustain. I've been thinking about what to name this as well. A while back, I came up with Kavya, Khona, a kind of play on Kavya and Khona in the Zulu sense, the Khona, which means here. So Khona, and Khona as poetry corner. So I was
Yes,
just
yes, like a Kavya
thinking it would
as
be,
well. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Wow, like it.
Mm, mm.
Yeah. Well,
Which one of the three is your most favorite of the poems you shared?
I think Tompkins Square Park.
Mm. Do you? I can envision you reading it and having people acting it out. You know,
Oh, I haven't thought that far.
that'll be so cool, though, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it could be quite cool because a lot of personalities, I guess.
Yeah, that would be really lovely. Mm.
Yeah.
Would you mind reading it for us one more time?
Which the Tompkins one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Tompkins Square Park in the fall. The pale sun gleams through branches, and leaves start to form a thin carpet. A big red maple tells me it's a relief to shed the burden of heavy leaves. A couple of trees behind me feel the same. A rose bush with one yellow bloom hanging on beckons me to come over. She says, I don't agree with the trees. I'm trying to keep my last flower for someone special. And I love to dance with my leaves in the breeze. I look up in admiration at the towering elm tree next to us. Don't bother, that tree won't say anything, she continues. He's been in meditation or something for many years, since a pure Swami chanted right there. He sat at those old roots back in 1966. A faint sound of drums and singing interrupts our thoughts. As the music grows, the procession comes closer. About 50 people stop under the meditating elm tree. A velvet cushion is placed gently by its wide trunk. This is the sitting place for a life-size deity of Prabhupada, the founder of the Hare Krishna movement. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. The joyful, melodious chanting resonates through the park, attracting people to join in with guitars and tambourines. Some are dancing in the breeze freely for the first time. I glance at the rosebush nearby. She is swaying. I know she wants me to pick her last flower. I gently pick her soft yellow rose and place it in Prabhupada's graceful hands.
That was really lovely. Hare Krishna, thank you very much for coming and sharing this really beautiful poetry with us. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, thank you so much for inspiring me to, have a go and keep going.
I'm looking forward to more of what you have to share. I'm sure it'll be really inspiring and encouraging as well.
Yeah, so maybe I'll keep on with my little notebooks by the bed then. See where it goes.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you so
I need
much.
to I need to replenish that stock of book of scribbles and such. Keep on.
The old notebooks are the best, the old ones.
Yeah.
The cheap ones.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I'd like devotees to come and follow you on Instagram. I thought I'd share your Instagram handle. You could share it here. Or perhaps, yeah. Let me see. I know is it Chakra-Nadi or underscore Dasi?
Chakra-Nadi
Houchin.
Houchin, that's my, I don't know why I put that on years ago. It's been like that for years. That's my surname. It's really long, isn't it?
No.
Chakra-Nadi.
Oh, okay.
Chakra little dash Houchin.
Okay.
Chakra
I
little
see
dash
it there.
Nadi, sorry, Houchin. Chakra
Okay.
Nadi Houchin. Yeah. You found it.
All right. Yes, there it is. I'd like to share it here. But anyway, I'll possibly add it to the clips. But it would be lovely for devotees to give you a follow.
Oh, thank you.
Hare
You're
Krishna.
very encouraging as usual.
Hopefully, we will get more devotees to come and share their poetry.
Yeah, great.
It would be nice to meet the other closet poets.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And will it be on your Instagram? Will I be able to see what's going on there, or how will it work?
Yes. I'm also building up on like the confidence, sharing the whole clip or the whole video on my YouTube. Actually, this is also, I'd say, a bit of a selfish exercise in what I've come to dub becoming Atma Tattva, because I realized as much as I took initiation and I have this name, I can only really become that through the association of devotees, So it's almost like an exercise in self-documenting and documenting the lovely association I'm getting. And maybe one day I'll realize what it does mean to be Atma Tattva,
You're doing a great job, that's all I know.
Oh, thank you very much. Hare Krishna, I'll just end our recording here.